Hi there, I'm Cathi from Software Solutions, and you're looking at one of a collection of videos that support my Microsoft Excel Level 3 Data Manipulation course. Please look at the earlier videos. There is a flow-on effect with these videos. We're now up to a point now where I want to introduce you to something called custom views, which are very powerful. They relate to the subtotals, they relate to outlining, as we've just done in the earlier video, and they relate to filtering. And I also want to bring back macros, incorporate macros into this video. So please join me and let's have fun. Okay, I'm in the Excel 3-2 file and I'm in the sales sheet where we've just grouped columns C, D, and E using the group button. And we grouped G, H, and I, and we grouped 4, 5, and 6, and we grouped 9, 10, and 11. So now here I'm seeing a view of all my data. I've hit my 2 and my 2 to expand all, and I'm seeing all the months and all the details. Now, this is one view of the sheet called sales, and I want to create a variety of ways that you can view the sales sheet and just be able to switch between them. And each view also should have its own unique print settings, and I want to show you that as well. So we've got this view. I just need to set the print settings up. Go Control P. When you go Control P, I want to make sure that if this ever prints, it prints not in portrait, but it prints in landscape. If it also prints, then it prints on one sheet, so fit sheet on one page. And I'm also going to go into page setup and say, if this prints under margins, I want it to be centered on the page horizontally or vertically. And okay, so that's how I want this to print. I may even edit the header and footer. Page setup, header and footer, custom header, and in the top section, I'm just going to put detailed report. And okay. And okay. So that says this is my detailed report. And I probably don't need page 1. Let's go into page setup. Let's go to header footer. Let's go to custom footer, and let's take out that because it is only one page. It's going to fit to one page. This is just my detailed report. I'm going to go out of print preview, and I want to save this now as a view. So I head to view in the ribbon, and it's this custom views button that I want to introduce you to and the power that sits behind it. If we go to custom views, I can choose add, and I want to add a view called detailed report. I could say view, but I'm going to go for the word report. Now this view called detailed report is going to remember any print settings, and it's going to remember any hidden rows or columns, that includes pluses and minuses, and any filter settings. So I'll choose OK. Let's create a second view of the sales sheet. I just want a quarterly view. So I'm going to click the 1 underneath my name box and collapse down to quarters. I now need to set up my print settings, so I'll go Control P. If this prints, I need it to print in portrait. No, I'll leave it on landscape, but I need to go into page setup and I need to scale it. I'm going to adjust it from 100% to 150%. I'm going to go to header and footer, custom header, and call it quarterly report. I'll go OK and OK, and so it's larger, 150%, and it's called quarterly report. I'll then go out of print preview, that's how I want it to print, and I'm going to go to custom views. There's my earlier view, but now I'm going to add a second view called quarterly report. It'll remember the print settings and any hidden rows or columns, and OK. Now I need a summary view. So I'm going to hit the 1 in the left margin and really summarize this down. I'm going to go Control P and check the print settings. I'm happy with the look of this, but this needs to say summary report at the top. So I go to page setup, I go to header footer, I go custom header, I take out quarterly, and I type summary. I'll choose OK, and this is my summary report. I'll get out of print preview, I'll go to custom views, there's my 2 reports. Now I'm going to add a third view, which is my summary report. And OK. So I've created 3 views of this one sheet. You can have a lot of ways that you can view a single sheet in different ways and just jump between those views. So for example, if I went to custom views and I said, give me the detail report show, it would show me the detail report. And if I went Control P, that's what would print, is the detail report. But if I press escape and say, look, I need to see the quarterly report, I'll go custom views, quarterly report, show, that's it there. And if I go control P, that's what would print the quarterly report. So you can have a variety of ways that you view a single sheet and save each of those as a view that people can just switch between those views. Let's take it further. We haven't included filtering and macros. I'm going to get out of this print preview. I'm going to go to the sheet called targets. Okay, so I'm in the sheet called targets. First thing is I want this view to be everything. This is all my records. And I need to see the print settings, control P. Now the print settings for this, 100% they need grid lines. So I'm going to go into page setup. What do I need here? Fit to one page wide, but I don't know how tall. So let me just clear that. So that's how you make it fit on one page wide, but you're not sure how tall because it's going to grow. Margins, I'm pretty happy with those. Header and footer, custom header. Let's just call it all records report. And okay. And under sheet, let's just choose grid lines and okay. So that's what would print. I'm going to keep the page numbering because this is page 2, page 3, page 4, and so on. I need to tidy up the columns. They're a bit messy. So let's get out of here. Click above row 1, double the width of column A, double click between two row numbers, any two row numbers, double click between any two column letters, go back up to A1, go control P, and just check. Yeah, everything looks tidy now. Excellent. So that's my first view. That's my all records report. So I'll go out of print preview, custom views, add all records report. Remembers any print settings, etc. and okay. Now I need to turn on the filter because now I want to create a TPookie report and a Kawido report. Control Shift L when I'm sitting in the list is the fastest way to turn on the filter. I hit the drop down on region, I click in the search and I type TE. That brings up TPookie, so I press enter. This is my TPookie report. I need to adjust the column width, so I click above row 1 and double click any two column letters, just so I can clearly see the column headings. This, if I go control P and check the print settings, this is fine, but it needs to say that this is the TPookie report. Page setup, header / footer, custom header, all records becomes TPookie report. Okay, okay. Go out of print preview, custom views, add TPookie report. Brilliant. Now let's hit the drop down on region. Let's go to the search. Well, actually just untick TPookie and choose Kawido. And okay, this is my Kawido report. Control P, check the print settings. Fine, page setup, header / footer, custom header, change this to Kawido. Okay that, perfect. Out of print preview, save this view, custom views, add as Kawido report. We've created 3 views of the sales sheet. We've created 3 views of the targets sheet. Let's see how this works. So if I want to see all the records, I'll go to custom views, all records, show. Turns off the filter, gives me everything. If I go control P, that's my all records report. Then if I go custom views, Kawido report, show, it turns on the filter, does the filter, and in my control P, does my print settings. Perfect. And go back. Custom views are very powerful. The data can change. So the data can change, but the custom view will just turn on the filter and apply the filter, as simple as or as complex as it is. But let's take it one step further. I don't want them to have to go into custom views and choose which view they want. Maybe let's make it that we add some buttons to our quick access toolbar that just runs a macro that flicks between the different views. Okay, first of all, I'm just going to reset my quick access toolbar. More commands. Actually, no, I just show it above the ribbon. So it's sitting up here above the ribbon. I might get rid of some of these buttons, remove, just to make a little bit of space, and remove and remove. Okay, so we've got some space here for our buttons. We've got our views. Now we need to make 6 macros. A macro to show the detailed report, a macro to show the summary report, a macro to show the quarterly report, a macro to show the all records report, a macro to show the kawato report, and a macro to show the tipoki report. So just like in earlier videos, we go down to our record macros button on our status bar. Click this button to begin recording. Now let's make it simple. Macro names are not allowed spaces. Let's start with the sales report. So we made detailed, summary, and quarterly. Let's start with DR for detailed report. Now let's assign a shortcut key so that they can just press the shortcut key and switch to that view. So this is the detailed report macro, DR. The shortcut key can't exclude control. Control must be part of the shortcut key combination. So we're going to add to the control key Shift D. By pressing Shift D, you have assigned Control Shift D to the macro DR. And the description will be detailed report. Actually, let's say custom view, colon, detailed report. And I might take a copy of that. Copy that, and okay. Now, what do we want to record doing? We want to record going custom views, detail report, show. That's it. Stop recording. Little square at the bottom here. Click to stop recording. First macro done. Let's make another macro. Record macro, QR. This is for our quarterly report. Click in the little box. Shift Q to assign Control Shift Q. Click in the description, paste, and call this quarterly report. Choose OK. What do we want to record? We just want to record going custom views, quarterly report, show. Stop recording. Let's record our third macro. Record macro. What are we calling it? This one is summary report, SR. Click in the little box, Shift S, give it a description. Description's optional, you don't have to do that. Summary report, I'm just being pedantic. And OK. What do we want the macro to do? Custom views, summary report, show. Stop recording. That's the sales macros done, all 3 of them. Now let's do the 3 views that are in targets. Record macro. What do we make? We made all records report, so we'll call it AR. Shortcut key, Shift A. Description. This is the all records report. Choose OK. What do we want the macro to do? We want it to go custom views, all records, show. Macro's finished. Stop recording. Let's record the next macro, the 5th macro. Record macro. What do we want to call it? TR for the tipoki report. Shift T for the shortcut key. Description, if you can be bothered, is tipoki report. Show. Oh, okay. Custom views, tipoki report, show. Stop recording. Final 6th macro. Record macro. KR for kawato report. Shift K for shortcut key. Description. Kawato report. All of these macros are stored in this workbook. Okay, that. What do we want it to do? We want it to go custom views, kawato report, show. That's what we want it to do. Stop recording. And you've made 6 macros. Each of those macros had a shortcut key. So let's test the shortcut key. If I go Control Shift D, I should get my detailed report. There it is there. Control Shift Q, quarterly report. Control Shift S, summary report. Control Shift A, all records report. Control Shift T, tipoki report. Control Shift K, kawato report. all 6 macros work. Test your macros if by using your shortcut keys. If they don't work, recreate your macros. Okay, now I need to turn them into buttons because not everybody's a shortcut key person. Some people like to have buttons, and I don't want to put them as shapes or pictures that we've done in previous videos on the spreadsheet. I actually want them to sit up high in the quick access toolbar that they can access those buttons from literally anywhere in the spreadsheet. So we go up to the quick access toolbar and customize the quick access toolbar by going into more commands. When we go into more commands, these are the buttons that you see for all documents. I want these buttons to only show when this document's open because they only relate to this document. So let's change this here to 4 Excel 3-2. That's the name of this file. So these are the buttons for this file only. Then we change popular commands to macros, and these are all of our macros, and I've got a lot more than just the ones we created. I first of all want to double click separator and send separator across. The separator are the cute little grey sort of lines that separate things into groups. So I want to have a little separator. And then as far as my macros go, I want to first of all send across DR. So let me double click DR. That's my detailed report. Then QR. So I have to navigate all these other macros. And then DRQR and then SR for summary report. Those were the 3 macros that related to the sales sheet. Now I want to send another separator across. So I double click separator again. Don't double click separator again because you'll send it across twice, in which case you then want to remove it. So be careful with your double clicking. The next thing I want to send across is the all records. And then I want to send across the Kawato records. And then I want to send across the Tipoki records. And then another separator. So those are my macros sent across. Now what I'm going to do is modify each macro. I click on DR first of all, and then I click on modify. The display name is what will appear when they rest their mouse on your button, which should explain what the button does. So it should say detailed report, and in brackets I want to tell people that Control-Shift-D is the shortcut key. So I'm going to take a copy of that also because it'll save me some typing. So there's my detail report, and then I choose a cute picture. So I might choose this one here, and OK. And that's my detail report done. Now I'm going quarterly report, modify. I'm going to paste, change the D to a Q, and change detailed report to quarterly report. Then I'll choose a cute button. That one maybe, and OK. This one here, summary report, paste, yes, summary, and a pin. All records, modify, paste it, a, all records, and a, what have I not got? A key. Key to all records. Kawato report, modify, paste that, okay, Kawato, and let's choose a little scroll, and Tipoki, modify, paste, T, Tipoki report, and let's have a look here. Let's choose a little cloud, and OK, there we go. So I've modified my buttons. If I click OK, I can now see up in my quick access toolbar, I have quick access to my macros. There's my cute little separator in front, in the middle, and at the end. If I rest on each button, there's my description and also my mention in my shortcut key. There's my detail report, there's my quarterly report, there's my summary report, my all records report, my Kawato report, and my Tipoki report. Each one of those being a custom view, each custom view having its own print settings. So people really just hit the buttons and switch between the different reports or views they want to see. Now, in the background, I have the earlier file we worked on in earlier videos, and you'll see that if I switch back to that earlier file, those buttons do not appear in the quick access toolbar. They are only for this file that we added them to. So a lot of my clients, when I create macros and code to do certain things for them, I will put it up in the quick access toolbar, and when I email them the file, they'll see they've got extra buttons, and when they rest on it, it tells them what the button does, and they simply hit the buttons and the macros start working. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like or subscribe. Please check out the other videos. There is a flow-on effect. Definitely have fun with custom views, with grouping and subtotaling, and macros are amazing. I do need to actually save this, and of course, just as we struck with an earlier video, we will get an error message because we need to save this as a macro-enabled workbook, not an Excel workbook. So when you go save, if you encounter this message here, this is the following feature cannot be saved in a macro-free workbook. That is VB, Visual Basic, your code. You will have to click no, and you will have to save it as a macro-enabled workbook. And then save that, and then you'll know that your macros are nice and saved. If you want to view your macros, you can go to View in the ribbon. You can go to Macro and View Macros, and here they are all listed here. And if I click on AR for all records and I go Edit, there are my various macros. My detail report, my quarterly report, my summary report, the shortcut key, and the fact that it just switches to the custom view called all records, or switches to the custom view called tpookie report. So those are the macros that reside in the Excel 3-2 file, as opposed if I double click module 1 here, these are the macros we did earlier that reside in the Excel 3-1 workbook, and if I double click module 1 here, these reside in the Excel 3-2 file. So this is your Visual Basic for Applications, your VB, and then if I close that, that is that particular video done. Please come back, have a look at some of more of my videos. I'm sure there's some tips and tricks in there that you're going to like. Ka kite.